Ralph Fusatola, JD here. I'm one of the class of 69, 1969, that is. Those young libertarians who were expelled from Young Americans for Freedom on the right and from Students for Democratic Society on the left, and who formed the genesis of the modern libertarian movement. This essay is from my blog. It's entitled, "It's Okay to Be a Libertarian." You can find it at tinyurl.com/okay to be libertarian. The recent trend in Libertarian Party presidential vote results is clearly upward. In 2008, 523,000, about 0.5% of the voters. 2012, 1,275,000, about 1% of the voters. And 2016, 4,488,000, over 3% of the vote. Note that the 2016 total was substantially larger than the 2.9 million vote difference between the two tax-eater parties. As a result, and maybe also as an interrelated cause, the libertarian presence on social media continues to grow. The number of people posting, for example, on the Libertarianism Facebook page escalates, as do the number of trolls. It seems that libertarian successes are being noticed, and the trollocracy is on the roll. One of the recent pseudo-memes has been, quote, "the LP has done nothing," end quote, to advance liberty, and indeed, the very idea of liberty is waning in the New World Order. This is an example of a propaganda technique that attempts, in big lie style, to ascribe to libertarians, a growing movement, the very failures of our chief opponents, the totalitarians of various stripes. This in the very same year that the world commemorated the 100th anniversary of the Red Coup in Russia, the November Revolution, initiating a century in which various versions of socialism, communist and Nazi alike, killed over 100 million disarmed folk. That anniversary was not celebrated with joy anywhere on earth, and happily the Red Menace of old was finally swept into the dustbin of history. Yes, libertarians had a hand in that most momentous event in the 20th century. It was then young libertarians, like Professor Jack Wheeler and then Libertarian troubadour, later Reagan speechwriter and now Congressperson Dana Rohrabacher, among many others, interacting with anti-communists around the world during the 1968-1989 period, which encouraged the collapse of communism. That, and of course, the utter failure of central planning in the face of market innovation, and the extraordinary bravery of ordinary Eastern Europeans and Russians who finally faced down the freedom-destroying megastate. It is worthy of note that about a half a decade before the fall of the Berlin Wall, Red Army doctrine had loudly proclaimed that the correlation of forces had decidedly turned in the favor of the USSR. The Liberty Movement includes many organizations and advocates. NGOs such as the Mises Institute make the literature and commentary of liberty widely available. Other advocates for specific reforms enhance liberty. They are an enduring source of deserved annoyance to the trollish army nipping at our heels. So here is my response to the trollish claim that the LP has accomplished nothing. The LP is just one of the more recent manifestations of a liberty movement that reaches back into American history to before the Federal Republic. Read Murray Rothbard's 4-volume Conceived in Liberty, which covers our history to the time of the Constitution of 1787. Lysander Spooner identified 4 great monopolies that the liberty movement had to abolish to give us the opportunity for developing in freedom. They were chattel slavery, the legal infirmities of women, the king's economic monopolies, and state churches. The liberty movement did quite well on those. It was up to succeeding generations to protect and enhance freedom. We've done that in many ways, overthrowing all sorts of cultural limitations on personal expression. For example, recognition since the leading case on the matter in 1914 of the importance of the universal right to informed consent, or for further example, the developing law built on the First Amendment, the most libertarian clause in the U.S. Constitution. I would say that libertarians, as inheritors of the tradition of Leggett, Warren, Thoreau, Spooner, Mencken, Taft, Goldwater, and Ron Paul, are doing just fine as the only real opposition to the American empire and as the only true heirs of the old republic. While the LP leadership does not always act as though it understood that the party is part of a larger liberty movement, it remains true that its success depends on that larger unit. Those who fear liberty seek to attack the voluntary associations that promote the ideas of liberty. This should not surprise us. The marketplace of ideas remains a free market, where the old state and corporate monopolies over the press have ended, and each of us can express our commitment to liberty. How could the actualization of the goal of full personal liberty not succeed in such conditions? The freedom reservations to Agenda 21. If Agenda 21 is a treaty among the elite determining a restrictive future for humanity, we reserve our rights. We proclaim our fundamental human rights, which no state, combination of states, or agencies thereof may violate. 1. Freedom to communicate, assemble, associate, and petition for redress of grievances, our expressive association rights. 2. Freedom to live and to defend our lives, including the right to acquire and hold property and maintain family, community, and economic associations, and the right to keep and bear arms for self-defense, our individual sovereignty rights. You'll see some links on the screen to previous blog postings on libertarian political philosophy. You're welcome to explore those ideas. Come and join us. Liberty is wonderful.